Hi team. One of the first body chemicals I want to talk you through is about epinephrine. And I don't know if you've heard its other name, but it's adrenaline. And why I like to use the word epinephrine is because the E that starts it means, and it talks to us about energy. So what is your belief about adrenaline? Is it good or bad? Does it serve you? How do you see it in your life? And it's really interesting because many people think of adrenaline as being only to do with danger, risk, and it's something that can be overwhelming. But of course, we need energy. Every morning when we wake up, we are loaded with high levels of epinephrine. Our body produces it naturally. So our mornings are in fact a great time for us to be doing big work. On the board, you'll see that I've got a couple of lines there, and I talk about 0 to 8 hours. And that is the first phase. Dr. Andrew Huberman from the Huberman Lab talks about phase 1 of the day, phase 2 of the day, and phase 3. He's a neuroscientist. He's not really very creative, right? So I've called them activation, consolidation, and embedding. And under epinephrine, we're talking about activation. We're talking about high levels of energy when you first wake up in the morning so that you can tackle big work. What that would mean to you is that during our working day, if we're going to figure out which time of the day is the best time of the day to be delivering work, then we need to know that the morning is time for deep concentration, critical decisions. If we're working out, we're doing big muscle building workout. We're not waiting for that at the end of the day. We're doing that first thing in the morning. So epinephrine is the thing that wakes us up in the morning and gives us that burst of energy. And of course, it is actually really strongly associated with deep cycle sleep. And we're going to talk more about sleep later on. But if you bugger up your sleep, then you are not going to be waking up with high levels of epinephrine. If you are suffering from anxiety or depression, your epinephrine, your adrenaline will be really low as well. So there's a whole bunch of things that happen with epinephrine. It only works in 2 to 3 minute bursts. The purpose of it is to get you out of the way of the saber-toothed tiger. That's the burst of adrenaline. So when we're doing parachuting, we're jumping off cliffs, we're rock climbing, we're facing a burglar in our home, we're going to have high levels of epinephrine. It will stay with us for that short burst for 2 to 3 minutes. It'll keep us alert. It'll increase our heart rate. And if you look at the board, what we've got is we've got the good things about epinephrine. So we've got increased focus. It metabolizes sugar. It helps us to metabolize sugar for energy so we can move and run away really quickly. We've got muscle strength, increased muscle strength, and you will have heard adventurous stories about amazing people doing amazing things, rescuing their children, lifting cars off small babies, etc., etc. The detriment of too much adrenaline is that we have an increased heart rate for long periods of time, which we don't want to sustain an increase in our blood pressure or an increase in heart rate. The other detriment is it will affect our digestion because it links into the cortisol response. And we're going to come back to cortisol, which is directly associated with our fight-flight response. So it will affect too high levels of adrenaline, will affect our digestion. Our sleep patterns, we'll get muscle fatigue. And some of you will have been in bar fights, others of you will have had fights with people or a car accident perhaps. How do you feel after that incident, after the adrenaline has released from your body? Generally high levels of fatigue. So you'll be tired, you'll have muscle shakes, and that is because the sugars have released, they've used all its energy, and now you've had too high levels of adrenaline for too long and you'll feel really fatigued. One of the interesting things about adrenaline is that people that are under pressure all the time, so we've got emergency doctors and nurses, firemen, policemen, anyone that's our soldiers, anyone that's exposed to high levels of conflict or unexpected activities will suffer or may suffer from adrenal fatigue. And that's the body trying to keep you in a state of hyper alertness all the time because it doesn't know what's coming next. So if you think of nurses in emergency and doctors in emergency sections in hospitals, when they sit down to have their cup of tea, their body is not letting them rest. It's not dropping those epinephrine levels. It's keeping it really high because we don't know what's coming next. When we have, I don't know if you've ever walked with horses, but you can get a horse that will nod its head, continuously nod its head. The adrenal gland in a horse is at the base of its neck, just above where the front of the saddle would go. So what it does is it nods its head to release adrenaline to keep it hyper alert, so that it can run away from danger. Why does a horse need to run away from danger? Every owner has a different set of rules. That horse, if it's sold from owner to owner, doesn't know what the next set of rules are. So it may be punished for something it's done in the past, or it may not understand the new lessons that the new owner is teaching. So it will become a head nodder, and it will keep itself in a state of hyper alertness all the time. So we can do that as people. So epinephrine, adrenaline is really good for us. We love it, but it also can become really fatiguing. The main thing I need you to think about epinephrine, it's to do with energy. We have high levels of it in the morning, and it's when we should be doing our big phase of work. So from 0 to 8 hours after we've woken up is our deep concentration, our big work, any conflict, any courageous conversations, load them in the morning. That is the absolute best time. And if you've got any more questions on epinephrine, please feel free to look at any of my resources. But remember, epinephrine, adrenaline is energy. It's neither good nor bad. It's how we choose to use it. As you embark on this fascinating journey into the world of neuroscience and cutting-edge research, I want to ensure that we're on the same page, legally speaking. Firstly, it's essential to clarify that I'm not a qualified neuroscientist, licensed therapist or counsellor. My role is to present you with meticulously sourced information from neuroscientists from around the world, drawing down from their doctorate papers and university research. I've taken the liberty of translating the scientific knowledge into layman's terms and spiced it up with my own unique interpretive dance, because learning should be both fun and actionable. However, please bear in mind that the information and courses provided here are intended solely for educational and entertainment purposes. They are not a substitute for professional medical advice, and I strongly advise consulting qualified health professionals such as physicians, coaches, therapists, psychologists for your personalised guidance. Your well-being is of the utmost importance to me. Therefore, while I strive to deliver intriguing insights, remember that making significant life changes require thoughtful consideration and appropriate guidance. You're invited to venture forth with me on this journey of discovery and growth, armed with knowledge and understanding to enrich our lives in meaningful ways.